We have lots to discuss here in today's video, including some trade talk around a handful of teams, including the Toronto Maple Leafs, the New Jersey Devils, and the Anaheim Ducks around Mason McTavish, where he remains unsigned. We have some updates from the GM meetings that have been taking place this past week. Plus, we also have some updates on next season and how the schedule might work. We have an update as well on the US Hockey Hall of Fame class for the coming season, a signing in Ottawa, and a few of the details around the league coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have lots to discuss here in today's video. I do want to start the video, unfortunately, with another piece of sad news. Another member of the NHL alumni family has unfortunately passed away. Lonnie Loach, only at the young age of 57, unfortunately has passed away. Fairly young age. Didn't have a big, illustrious, long career, but it certainly was a pretty good player. Drafted in 86 by the Blackhawks. I remember he was one of the Senator selections on the expansion draft when he first came to the NHL. He later went on to play with the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks as well. Scored his first goal with the Kings. Didn't have a lot of NHL experience, didn't have a ton of games, but certainly was a pretty good pro there for a while. And 57 is way too young to be losing your life. So I'm not sure the exact circumstances around what happened with Lonnie Loach, but certainly want to extend our condolences to his friends and family for sure. A big update as well from the GM meetings taking place this week. A couple of things. One, apparently coaches were part of these meetings as well. It wasn't just GMs, but coaches were there for part of it. And coaches were present and had a meeting with the NHL referees. So obviously trying to get things set up for the upcoming season, I guess, to give the coaches a good idea of what to expect and, kind of going over what's going to be called, what's not going to be called, that type of thing as well. The GMs did have a big meeting with members from both the Canadian Hockey League, so the CHL and the USHL, so both junior leagues. Both of those leagues made presentations to the NHL GMs expressing some concerns and some how they felt about things when it comes to the details of the new collective bargaining agreement, where they would allow a select number of 19-year-olds to be able to play in the American Hockey League. Clearly, it's something that I know teams have been pushing for. There are some scenarios, some players at that age where playing junior, it just isn't good for their development. It's not challenging enough for them, for the higher-end players. But, maybe getting some time in the AHL is a better path for them, rather than either, because right now you either play in the NHL, which might not be the best for you, or go back to junior, which may not be the best for you either. There's an in-between option, but because of their age, they can't do it. I understand from the junior league perspective that, strictly from a business perspective, they want to keep their top players there as long as they can. Helps them sell tickets, helps them make better business. But it's got to be more about the players and the development at the end of the day. So hopefully they can work things out. Discussions will continue for an extended time, because that's part of the CBA that's not effective until next year. So the discussions will continue to see if they can get things worked out to make that happen. We also did learn as well from Pierre LeBrun today regarding those same meetings that some details on how the schedule will work for next season, because we are going to be going to an increased game schedule from 82 games up to 84. The NHL season will be starting a little bit earlier. So instead of, what we normally get the first week of October, usually anywhere from, October 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere's around there, it's going to actually be in the towards the end of September. So there will be regular season games before the calendar turns to October, with the latest that the Stanley Cup can be awarded would be the middle of June. Now, if you look at where the Stanley Cup was awarded this past year, that's not drastically different, but of course, the playoffs, the way the schedule was done up, they could have lasted a little bit longer. The Stanley Cup could have been, there was at least, I can't remember how many days that were left that were from the time they started to the time it was the latest possible date. But in all honesty, if let's say the 15th, middle of June, is the latest possible date that the Stanley Cup can be awarded with the 84-game schedule, That's pretty good, I think. I mean, honestly, with them expanding the schedule by 2 games, the fact that it's not going to be later is a bonus for sure. The other thing I would like to see, and I wonder if they'll look at this, I know a lot of GMs don't like the fact that the draft and free agency are so close together, which is a big part of the reason why they continue to push for having these decentralized drafts, because it's so much business in such a short period of time. A big chunk of the league thought it was better for them to stay at home in their home base and be able to look after the draft and then change gears right into free agency. Whereas now, if the Stanley Cup's awarded by the 15th, maybe they could have the draft in the 3rd week of June instead of right at the end. And then that would leave a solid week, or maybe even more, depending on the calendar, between the draft and free agency. Maybe we can get back to having the old format of the draft. Maybe teams are... and just spreads things out. I know from a content creating standpoint, for me, I know that selfishly, but I mean, that's if I had to pick, I would have a little bit more of a gap in between as well. Just gives us more time to kind of, dissect everything and talk about one event before we right into the next news cycle with the other stuff. So I think to be able to kind of allow GMs more time to do their business, I think it could be good for the game to give them more time to have talks, prepare for free agency, maybe make some trades, whatever. So we'll see how that goes next year with the new schedule. A few other tidbits around the league, a few other things. The Lightning have hired Pat Maroon now that he's retired. He's been officially hired to be an alumni ambassador. So that seems like something that'll be right up Pat Maroon's alley. I do believe he's also going to be working as an assistant coach I can't remember where he was. I know we talked about it here. I don't have it right up top of my head, but it's one of the junior leagues. So Maroon's going to still be heavily involved in the game of hockey, which is great to see. He's a great personality, been around the game a long time. There was a point in his career when thought he might have to wrap it up and not end up accomplishing a lot, but stuck it out and ended up extending his career quite a long ways and getting multiple Stanley Cups on his name. So certainly, good on him for doing what he's doing now to continue being involved with the game. The United States Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced today as well. 3 former NHL players are included, including Scott Gomez, Zach Parise, and Joe Pavelski. All 3 of those guys had pretty solid careers in the NHL. So they will be all inducted in the United States Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2025. They will be joined by Tara Mounsey on the women's side and Bruce Bennett, a longtime hockey photographer who's captured a lot of great moments, and some of the still images that you probably have in your mind thinking about all the game's biggest moments the last 20, 30, 40 years. A lot of those pictures have come from Bruce. TJ Oshie will be working part-time this year as well with the Washington Capitals, as he's going to continue to be pursuing a broadcasting career. So I think Oshie, to me, is a great personality as well to see involved around the game like Maroon. So hopefully things continue to work out there. We had a couple of teams reveal new jerseys today. We knew the Carolina Hurricanes were going to be doing so because they've already had it posted on their socials that on September 3rd they were going to be revealing new road uniforms. So they did that today. I'll show you a quick picture here. So obviously the white base. I don't mind the Hurricane road uniforms they unveiled today. Don't know that I love them, but I think they're fine. But yeah, so they've got some new white-based jerseys that they'll be using on the road for the 25-26 season. And I didn't know that this was coming. They kind of kept it a secret to some, or at least they didn't promote it a lot. Maybe some people might have known. But the Ottawa Senators today at an event for media revealed their new 3rd alternate jersey. So their standard home and away jerseys will be still the same, but they're adding a 3rd jersey for the first time in a few years. Of course, it's the red base, and of course, you see a lot of retro here, a lot of history. They got the gold and the black. Not the only part of the jersey that I do like it overall, but I'm not sure that I love like the black up on the shoulders. But I do like the rest of it. I like the gold. Some fine details on the back as well, where they have the Fanatics logo, and then they have Ottawa across the back on the neck. And on one of the A's, you can see is shaped like the Ottawa Peace Tower. So just a little detail there. They will be wearing those jerseys 13 different games throughout the upcoming 25-26 season as well. The Sens also revealed today a bunch of upgrades that they made to their arena to prepare for the 25-26 season. All the seats in the 100 and 200 levels have been replaced. Lots of new menu items on the concessions, and the capacity will be reduced a little bit with all the changes they made to the arena. Capacity for a sellout crowd was normally just over 19,000. That's going to be around 18,000 now with the changes that they made to the arena. And they also unveiled all their promos and everything else for the upcoming season, or for half the season for the promos and a bunch of other stuff. So certainly had a pretty good day to launch the season there with the media and everything that they introduced here today. And they also, the team hasn't announced this yet, but Puckpedia has the inside scoop that the Senators today also signed a restricted free agent defenseman, Donovan Sebrango, to a one-year deal, two-way contract, $775, so league minimum at the NHL level, $140,000 for the American Hockey League level. Sebrango's a local product from the area. Has played with the Senators the past couple of seasons, and they're mostly in Belleville, but has had a little bit of NHL time. He was a player that at one point when he was in junior was a fairly highly ranked prospect. Hasn't quite materialized just yet, but I think he's got potential, to be honest. He's added more of a physical element to his game. When he came up, he looked pretty good to me. He's a decent call-up option for sure. And he came over from the Alex DeBrincat trade from the Red Wings. He was one of the kind of a throw-in, if you will, but I didn't think that he's done too bad during his time in Ottawa here so far, making the most of being able to play for his hometown team. Now, in a bunch of trade stuff we'll take a look at here. Mason McTavish, is a highly talked about player throughout the offseason, remains unsigned. And again, until he is signed, there's probably going to continue to have rumors swirl around him. But I know Jimmy Murphy did a new article, including some quotes from a source for his RG.org article around McTavish. And basically from the source he's talking to says that the Ducks have had a lot of inquiries around McTavish. Lots of teams are out there looking for a centerman. Lots of teams are looking for a top six centerman. But he doesn't feel that the Ducks have really engaged in any kind of serious trade talks around McTavish here as of yet. They may have had a few, minor discussions, but nothing serious at all. I don't think they've seriously entertained trading him so far. One of the quotes I thought was interesting was they said that Verbeek has not sent out the bat signal yet, indicating it's time for a trade and basically going to look into accept the best offer. So I mean, a lot of the reports around McTavish was that it's their intention is to get him signed and to hang on to him and be a part of their future. I think a lot of the trade talk around this player has come from the player side of things. I do think there's been reports about some frustration, uneasiness around what his role is going to be. And I don't know what McTavish has completely sold, at least not sure as of yet, on doing a long-term deal with the Ducks. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, McTavish is a really good player. It's a ton of potential. They drafted him third overall. They made a lot of changes to their team this year. I do think that they're going to be a little bit more competitive. They were more competitive last year. I think they'll continue building upon that this year. So we will see. Lots of teams out there interested. There's probably 6 or 8 teams that have at least inquired on this player and are looking for this type of player, looking for a centerman. But no serious trade talks have taken place here as of yet. So they will continue trying to get him signed. Of course, training camp's open in less than 2 weeks' time. So if he remains unsigned and starts missing time at camp, it's when you're going to see a little bit more of a pressure point, which will hopefully develop into a contract or get a resolution one way or another. I know Frank Seravalli today also reporting on the Maple Leafs. They're still very much interested and have been in contact with the top free agent, Jack Roslovic, who's still unsigned, getting close to training camp. Obviously, to me, Roslovic has been in contact with, I'm not sure about other teams, but probably, the only teams we've heard of besides Toronto was Carolina. Doesn't mean there haven't been others, but they seem to be the teams that have been popping up in the rumor mill the most. Nothing imminent at this point, according to Seravalli, but the main thing with the Maple Leafs, because they even had some comments from Brad Tree Living here in the last 24 hours from the GM meeting saying that they're always looking to improve their team, and but nothing's imminent right now. But at the same time, we know that they've been trying to move people. They have guys like Kampf and Yarncroke, and some think there's even a chance they could still move Nick Robertson even though they signed him. But there's really no space to do much of anything with right now. So the Maple Leafs, to bring in Roslovic, have to have some money go out, and they haven't been able to do that. The last 4 or 5 weeks have been especially quiet on actual movement. Lots of speculation, lots of inquiries by the looks of it, but no action. We were kind of led to believe by a lot of NHL insiders that August we're going to see things pick up and there was going to be a bunch of trades, but there was a lot of unresolved things around the league, and teams were having lots of discussions. But I think all the GMs kind of packed up and went on vacation in August and said, screw this, we'll deal with it later. So Roslovic's still very much linked to the Leafs. They're still linked to moving Kampf, Yarncroke, maybe Robertson, but until they get some space and free up a move, they can't sign them. So we'll see what happens. But lots of talk around that the Leafs definitely want to make further changes to their forward group. But that's where things sit on that front. Now, with New Jersey, there's been a lot of talk around Luke Hughes. We've talked here in recent days how there's some rumors out there around the fact that he's looking to line up his contract to expire the same time as his brother Jack. That I think that there could be some truth to that. We heard that the Devils are looking for a shorter bridge, 2 to 3 years, or a long-term deal of 8 years. But he's looking for 5 to match the expiration of his brother. Now, we also had comments from Quinn Hughes today, not on Luke, but on himself and his future in Vancouver, basically saying he's not worried about the noise. He can handle it. It's part of the reason why he's captain, is that he does well at tuning things out that he doesn't need to pay attention to, and just kind of focus on himself and the team and trying to improve and be better all the time, and not let yourself get distracted. Ultimately, like he said in the interviews, he can't sign for at least another year anyway, so there's not much point in looking, talking, or thinking about it a whole lot. So I know some people think the 3 Hughes brothers are going to get together and go to another team or something. And I've seen a lot of discourse and rumors around this a group of brothers here. But to be honest, that would take a lot of money for a team in free agency to sign all 3. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but for a team that would have to be considering we're 2 years from that, 2 years from Quinn, it'd be looking at a 5-year plan to try to get all 3. That is so far down the road. Teams will have to be hoarding a lot of cap space, and just what if it didn't work out and they couldn't sign them? They'd have all this space and no players, right? So I just don't see a long-term effort here by the brothers to kind of conspire together to make that happen elsewhere. If anything, I think there would be the best chance of something happening would be for Quinn to join his other 2 brothers in New Jersey. But, that's just me. But as far as that goes, a big thing with Luke, too, that a lot of people aren't talking about is, as much as there's obviously, like I said, a difference of opinion on term, which is causing a difference of opinion on dollars. But another part of this is the cap space. I know an article as well from, I think it was James Nichols from the Beat Reporter, talking today how New Jersey doesn't have a lot of space. They have around $6 million. They do have some players that could be able to go to the minors, or they can put on waivers. So they can create a little bit of extra space. But to go long-term with Hughes, it's going to be a bigger number, and they'd have to move a contract out or get creative. So it could, depending on what the term and dollars end up being, it is possible that they might have to go down the route of a cost-cutting trade to make it happen. I think the first choice would be Andre Palat in that scenario, but he does have a no move, so they can't just put him in the minors to create space that way, or put him on waivers. And he does have a modified no trade where he can give a 10-team list. So moving him is possible, but not super easy. So that's a contract to me that hasn't quite aged as well as they would have liked, and it's he still has another year beyond this one. So obviously not super easy to do. So looking through the Devils lineup, though, and the roster, look through Puckpedia, for them to create space, they have guys like Casey and Nemec. The more time they have to spend in the minors, they're not going to be happy either. So there's ways that the Devils can create some space and stuff, but it's just if they need to make a trade, it's going to be a little bit challenging. I know we've heard a lot about Dawson Mercer off and on over the last year as well. Not sure that they're completely sold on where he fits in their lineup long term. So he could be a player that moves as well, mainly because Palat would be too complicated, perhaps. But we will see what happens here. But the Devils and Luke Hughes have more than just a negotiation. The cap space is complicating things here as well. So, of course, in case you didn't notice, I did start season previews earlier today. We're starting with the Atlantic Division, so stay tuned for that. There's going to be more teams coming every day as we get through all the teams here heading towards the beginning of training camp at the beginning of the NHL season. So we'll go through all 32 teams before puck drops on opening night. Let me know your thoughts on all of today's news and rumors in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.